Cool. We're live right now. Getting ready to start the show in half a second. I'm just waiting for the channel to load in. There we go. All right.
I'm checking out chat.
Mm-hmm. And sitting in chat right now. We are good to go. So here we go. We're about to begin the show. I want to thank everybody for stopping in. We do have a guest with us today, which I will introduce who he is and what he does and what he brings to the channel. So that'll be really, really cool. Give me 1 second. Boom. Okay. All right. Let's start the show. So, you are now rocking with the Inner Circle podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox One. I am your host, KORXKLL, the last son of Planet Xbox, and with my homie, Anchorman V.
Hey, everybody.
And Drunken Master Dan.
What's going on, everyone?
What's going on? For those of you who don't know who Dan is, Dan actually runs, and soon, my understanding is he might have his own podcast as well, but he actually runs the largest Xbox group, Facebook group on Facebook. Basically, it's an Xbox One channel. It has over, I believe, 40, did you say 48,000?
47.
47,000 members. That is absolutely insane. 47,000 members.
It's a good community.
That's an amazing community. That's an amazing community. Now, if we could just get those 47,000 people to buy some exclusives.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening, but yeah, we'll try.
we'll gotta try to figure that one out. So, yes, we have Dan with us today. And, as you know, Tick Podcast is always looking to have guests on the show, and we plan to have a really good show today. So we're in our post-E3 mode. There's been a lot of news that has released. It's been a big, successful game that was recently launched. There's still more confusion out there about Xbox and some of the talk that Microsoft has spoken about, as well as some exclusives that we can go over, and a little bit of news here and there popped out, buzzing throughout the industry, and we'll try to address all of those on tonight's show. So let's begin. I want to start with this thing that I happened to see on Twitter as I was surfing my Twitter feed. I bumped into my good friend Ryan McCaffrey from IGN and Podcast Unlocked In. He happened to tweet out something that actually surprised me because I didn't even notice myself, was that he had did a review for Inside. And Inside, which is an indie game, by the way, made by the people who make Limbo, he gave the game a 10 out of 10. And one of the quotes that he stated was that he's never given a game, since all his years of working at IGN, he has never given a game a 10 out of 10. But for some apparent reason, Inside has gotten a 10 out of 10. Now, I haven't played the game yet. I plan on getting it this Friday. I've been holding off a little bit, just trying to fill it out because I'm very picky about my indie games. I'm not a big indie guy, like as far as like purchasing. I'll play preview games. If it's a game I really, really like, I'll buy it and stuff. But I'm always there to try to support indie developers and try to spread the word about those games to get that out to the public with On the Red Carpet segments. But at the same time, I also try to pick the best indie games I could possibly get. And Inside is getting rave reviews left and right. I have not seen a game get so many rave reviews in such a long time. And what's actually incredible, I just found out today from my own site, ticgn.com, that the Xbox and PC versions of Inside has overtaken Overwatch. I don't even know what that means. Maybe it means as the most game played between the two platforms, but it's overtaken Overwatch, which is absolutely incredible. So, I mean, the hype behind it is there, but because I haven't played the game yet, I'm still lost as what is so big about this game. Anchor, what is your thoughts on this, man? Let me know something. What are you hearing?
Well, first of all, this is the game that comes from the same studio that called Playdead, which also did Limbo. So Limbo was also a very highly acclaimed game. Got a lot of awards. It's the type of side-scroller kind of game where it's not, I guess it's technically a platformer. It's not, I wouldn't really call it that. It's more of a, you walk around, you press A to jump, press X to interact. It's that kind of game. I guess it would be classified as a puzzle platformer. But I mean, it's it's one of those games that is short enough and it has the pedigree to get a good rating. It's actually the #1 rated Xbox exclusive currently on Metacritic.
Ah.
It's sitting at a 92 currently with a user score of an 8, which is an 8 by users scores is actually pretty good.
You might as well say that's a 10.
I mean, I could scroll through a couple of the reviews. I'm currently looking at the page right now for like we won't actually read them. I'll just give you an idea. Like the Jimquisition gives it a 10, or they give it 100. Digital Spy, Examiner, Video Gamer, Time, Giant Bomb, IGN, they all gave it 100.
Wow.
And I think the lowest score out of the group is it's a tie between I think it's Australia Gamers and Gamer NL, which gave it a 75.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty incredible. Just a 75 for an indie title.
Yeah, that's as bad as it gets.
Dan, have you played the game?
No, I haven't. But as far as the Xbox One group goes, I've seen a bunch of posts about it, and I haven't seen one negative thing said. I mean, it's just nothing but rave reviews so far.
I'm excited for the game, man. I can't wait to get my hands on it. You know, Limbo has always been one of those creepy games. You know, being black and white, you're walking around in the dark, and it's hard to actually see anything. And it's very creepy. It gives you that sense of dread. Because you never know what's lurking behind the next corner with the whole black and white thing going for it. But inside, it gives you that sense of dread, at least from what I've seen video-wise and commercial-wise. It gives you that sense of dread, but it also kind of gives you the sense that, you know, there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of things to discover in the game, and that's what has me intrigued about it. And I definitely want to get the Play Dead guys on the show to get a chance to talk with them about Inside and Limbo and, you know, what makes them make these type of games where there's so much to discover, but there's also, you know, the sense of you don't know what's lurking behind the next door or what's lurking on the next screen as you're traveling in this, you know, two-dimensional side scroller. So really interesting what they've been doing lately, and I'm definitely excited for what Play Dead has to offer in the future. They seem like they're on a good road with two surprising indie titles in both Limbo and Inside. And my understanding is that Limbo is only a timed exclusive, so it will hit the PlayStation 4 at some point, and it will hit the Wii U at some point. But currently, it is on Xbox One and PC, and for them, that's good for them. You know, I'm not really big on review scores when it comes to Metacritic and the library of games because I know Microsoft has a ton of really great exclusives that are really highly rated. Maybe not in the 90s, but definitely mid to high 80s or low 80s. But definitely 80 is still an excellent score.
Xbox exclusives normally they have a really good high average.
Yeah, they have a really good average. I don't know why people feel like Microsoft doesn't have great games because they haven't hit the 90 mark yet. And that could be attributed to a lot of different things. I've said this before, but you know, that's neither here or there. But Inside seems like a really good game. I can't wait to get my hands on it and maybe even do a little review on Super Pod Shots. I want to talk about.
I know for me, like I'm gonna wait on Inside for a little bit. Because like right now, my mind is all about Banner Saga, thanks to the games with gold this month.
Okay.
Like, geez, so they announced that the games with gold this month are going to be Banner Saga 2, Tumblestone, and they're still doing the Crew this month as well. And then on 360, it's Rainbow Six Vegas 2 in Tron Evolution.
Right.
So they have those games, but when they announced Banner Saga 2 was first of all coming to Xbox. Which actually, it's kind of funny because a lot of games that they kept saying was going to be PC exclusive have all ended up on console and are going to as well. But not just that, but whole Banner Saga 2 in general. I actually went and bought Banner Saga 1 to play it, and it is a great game. Like Banner Saga 2 for me makes up the whole list, like the Tumblestone and all that stuff.
Tumblestone, I think, is a brand new game too. Brand new. That we get.
Yeah, I had never heard of it before.
That's kind of neat. I like getting games as soon as they launch.
But here's the thing. Now, Banner Saga is an RTS, right?
It's like a top-down Like yeah,
Turn-based.
it's like a top-down point-and-click shooter, not shooter, like yeah, tactical game.
You need to stop playing Overwatch at this point. The fact that you brought up shooter for Banner Saga is absolutely ridiculous. I seen
I'm
you on
sorry,
Overwatch
just
at midnight
totally something else.
last night playing Overwatch. Don't go PC on me, okay? But I'm looking forward to I have Banner Saga, but I didn't get a chance to play it yet. I'm a big RPG guy, but I'm not into tactical RPGs. Like I could never get into Final Fantasy Tactics. I could never get into Disgaea. I could never get into those games. Like I really did try, but they're just so slow paced. It's just very difficult to play. Like even I tried to play XCOM on 360, and I got through it for the first couple of missions, but after a while I just lost interest. I'm all about either turn-based or action. I gotta have one or the other to really get into these type of games. But I did like the animation cutscenes. Now that looked hot. I
Yeah.
was looking at some of the videos of it, and these cutscenes is very well drawn, and the animation of the characters still kind of looks like it's animated in a way. So it's kind of cool, like what they're trying to do as far as the graphical fidelity of the indie title and things like that. So it is really impressive. I do give you that. Now,
It's a lot different than anything else that's out there too in that genre. Like it stands apart from everything. So I mean,
it does. It does.
Well,
Indie
it's not
games.
just that. It's more. It's not so much just the fighting aspect that makes the game so fun. It's like we brought up earlier. The art style is just stunning. It has the same kind of appeal to me like Cuphead does, where it's a really unique art style and it's consistent. It's not a static thing. Like even when you're talking to people, like they may not have like the lines might not actually match up with the the lip syncing. The lip syncing isn't like a real thing, but it's still moving and it feels like you're like watching something while you're playing the game. It really is pretty nifty. But at the same time, it's not just that, but like you're going on a trek. Like you have to manage resources and you have like it's like playing Oregon Trail where like events will pop up. Like we had one where I'm like managing my group and we're going there. We have like maybe 10 days of food and this guy who gets really drunk and burns down a tent, and you have to decide what to do with him. It's like I said like, all right, no more alcohol for you. This isn't the Bethesda party here. No more of that. But you could like you tell him like no, or you could kill him, or you could do a bunch of stuff here and there, and it affects the group's morale, and that changes different choices that will come along later. Like later on, he says, "Oh, there are enemies here," and you can choose to believe him or not. And in this particular case, it ended up that there really weren't enemies. He was crying wolf, and he just conveniently goes missing, and I decide not to look for him again.
Okay. That sounds interesting indeed. I might have to try it out. Maybe I'll try it out and see how big of an RTS or how big the tactics part of the game is. But I definitely will give it a run and see what I can get out of it. There's been a lot of small titles released recently. I know another big title that came out was what is it, 7 Days to Die?
Yeah, I got that. I picked that up today myself.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it or anything like that. But what have you discovered about the game, Dan, that interests you?
If you're into Ark, if you're into Minecraft, it almost feels like it's got pieces of all the most popular stuff out there. And like when I first started, like I just started it today in the afternoon. And the intro part, it's a little confusing at first. It's like Ark, like when you first start playing Ark, kind of got to figure things out. But once you get into it, man, I was hooked. I had the whole family sitting in here watching me play it. And then when you die, like if I died before I had a bed down, so I lost. Like I had a house, I built everything, and I died. And it's brutal. Like the zombies, because when nighttime comes, they run like full speed, and then you'll get just swarmed. It's basically like adding a zombie game to a Minecraft with like the depth of Ark as far as like destroying everything in the world and turning it into a resource that you can use. It's not a beautiful graphically. It's not beautiful. It's not gonna wow anybody, but if you're into the gameplay, you'll look past it, especially after a couple hours. You don't even notice it.
Yeah, I mean, one of my clan guys told me that it reminds him of Rust on PC.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen. It's very much like Rust.
Yeah, I've never played Rust, so I wouldn't know. But I was trying to get the feeling for it, but he said it's first person, and when he brought up first person talking about that, I thought about Resident Evil and the transition that Resident Evil is going with first
Back to
person
horror.
now.
Yeah,
You got more
back to the
horror, but
horror.
doing it in a first person perspective is mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if fans are going to go for it. They're saying that the hype for them was really big at E3, but the buzz throughout, social media has been dead, in my opinion. Most people actually have lost interest. I remember at one point when we were at E3 and we saw it for the first time. Me, Brandon, and Anchor, and we literally thought it was like Outlast 3.
Yeah, we thought it was Outlast 2. We
Yeah,
thought
we
it was a
said it was
sequel.
Outlast 2 or something.
It just looked
It
It
looked
looked like it was
terrible.
such a small budget. Like it was just like this is not a lot of detail or anything. It looked really like rough around the edges. And it was like, wow, this must be Outlast 2. They must have gotten to deal with Outlast 2.
And come to find out, it's Resident Evil 7. I just don't know how fans are going to take it. Now, I'm not one to talk. I'm not into horror games or anything like that. I just don't get it. I mean, what people want you to do, and I think the problem with some of these games is that they want to reinvent the wheel, but you lose the essence of what made the game great and why people love it.
Yeah.
People wanted to be a third person, adventure game. I mean, excuse me, a third-person survival horror game, but at the same time, people aren't. Give me 1 second. Anchor, take over for me real quick.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with a lot of the games, what happens, especially when they have really long iterations, they start losing a lot of attention, and they forget about what made the game appealing. And it's like, if you look at what some of our most favorite games are, is that they realized very early on what the appeal is, and they went with it. And they stuck with those kinds of games. Like, okay, this is what makes it popular. Like, this is why I like Halo in particular. Like, you got Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, and like they know what made the games popular, and they work because they stick with what they know works. And this is also, it's kind of like the problem with Call of Duty, that Call of Duty knew for a while what they wanted, but they ran through the problems of, all right, we release on a yearly cycle. We have to have something new, some reason to convince people to move over, and so you used to get stuck in gimmicks, and all this other stuff, and just ugh.
I don't think Resident Evil needed to go the route of changing the formula. I think they had the name, they've had the fan base alone. I mean, it's a lot. I've seen a lot of people embrace it, saying that they like the idea, but that what they showed, like I played the demo on the other system, and apparently the demo is not, you're not even that same character in the actual game, which it's kind of misleading almost as to like what is the actual game gonna be. And I mean, it's just, Resident Evil has always been, to me, like third person police action horror or whatever. I mean, it's scary. It was, well, for its time, even the early ones were somewhat scary, but that's trailed off. It's cool that they're going the more horror route and trying to be appealing to that side of it, but I just don't think they needed to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the problems comes from, especially the horror games, is you can't do the same thing over and over and over again. You lose it.
Yeah.
And it's difficult when it comes down to that. I mean, it's kind of like the problem with BioShock, actually, where BioShock 1 was so appealing because it had a bunch of different things that were contributing to it, like the way in that it was done storytelling-wise. There were no cutscenes. It was just like, here's the beginning, here's the end cutscene, and I think there was one little part in the middle where they give you the twist, and the rest of it is just like, it's all done. Most of the storytelling is really done through the audio logs when you listen to some of those, and that was what made the game so appealing, is the way the story was done, the gameplay was fun. It tricked you into thinking it was an open world game, but it really wasn't, and then it explored some themes that games really hadn't covered in terms of, Randy and objectivism and such.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then BioShock 2 came around, and they thought the appeal was Rapture, and so and honestly, the worst part about BioShock 2, and we had this long conversation, was that BioShock 2 was forced to rehash the same idea, and that's not what the appeal of BioShock was necessarily. Like, people liked Rapture. Rapture was great, but
Yeah.
it wasn't what made people like BioShock as much. And so, like I said, the weakest part of that was that they had to go back to Rapture. Because BioShock 2 is a very solid game if you think about it. The gameplay is easily the best in the series, but it's just not. The problem is it had to go back to Rapture.
So, what are your thoughts on the remaster coming soon?
I'm torn because I said as long as they overhauled the first game, I was on board. And I said that and I'm going to get it at some point.
Yeah.
I just really.
What game
really
is this?
don't want to buy the other two.
BioShock remaster coming.
Oh man, I didn't play 2. I didn't play BioShock 2. I played 1 and I played Infinite.
Well, we were actually just
like
talking
them all.
about how BioShock 2 easily has the best gameplay of the series. Everything fits tight, it works with the world, and it builds upon what the first game did. But
Yeah.
it's just not. So the weakest part was that it had to go back to Rapture.
I don't know, man. I didn't play 2. I heard 2 was the weakest, and it was actually the worst rated of the 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Playing
And
the
like
Big
I said,
Daddy
that was the
figuring things
problem,
out.
is that the story was just kind of forced in that you had to go back to Rapture, and they had to come up with something that made you go back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I like them all. I'll play it again. It'd be nice. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I played any of them.
Right.
So my biggest issue is that I don't want to pay for the other two. I just want to play the first one.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I might just wait for that Black Friday sale because it's coming out in September, and I'm like, I'll just wait till it's like $40, and then I won't feel bad about getting it then.
There's so much coming at that time. It's going to be hard to decide what to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. So, now that I'm back, I just want to jump in and talk about some console news and things like that, and some confusing rhetoric. I got into a big argument with Mr. X Media and crew on Twitter, which was absolutely a 24-hour disaster on my Twitter feed. Look, people believe this guy. It's terrible that they do. It's unfortunate that there are casualties to the nonsense and things like that. And normally I wouldn't, attack anybody or go in on anybody and things like that. But, the thing that really irritated me with that whole situation was the simple fact that a good follower and friend of the show actually had, taken some information and in some of the words that Rod said when he talked about unlocking more power for Gears of War 4 with the Xbox One S. And I had already spoken to Albert Pernillo about it at E3 and, how, the consoles work, what's in the console. I had that behind-the-scenes interview with 2 of the actual developers, one who worked on hardware, one who worked on software at E3 as well. So I had a plethora of information when it came to the console. And the thing that people keep bringing up is that the wording of what Microsoft, the wording of what one of the developers said was that they unlocked more power or unlocked more processing power for Gears of War 4. And the confusing part is the word unlocking. And I try to explain to my guy, I'm like, listen, you have to understand something. When it comes to Microsoft, they're not very great with words. They have terrible communicative skills. It's just the truth. I don't know who runs the PR department. I don't know who tells them what keywords they should focus on or what keywords they should not focus on. But once you put one thing out, it spreads like wildfire, especially with Xbox fans who are like rabid for positive information, positive news. Anything that we can get our grubby little hands on that we can use in any type of any type of topic or conversation, or even for some of the zealots out there, any type of bullet points that they can use against the opposition, they'll grab it and they'll take it. And what I try to explain to them was that, listen, it's not so much that they're saying they unlocked the power, more so that they've added more processing power for the HDR part of the Xbox One S, not the actual games part of it. So that way developers wouldn't have to take power from the actual console when developing games just to use for HDR. But for some apparent reason, he wasn't getting that. And, X Media came on there, and he had tweeted something on my timeline talking about his one of his guys had found out that the Xbox One had about 4 teraflops in it, and the Slim had 5 teraflops in it, and the Scorpio has 6 teraflops in it, and all 3 are Scorpios. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And the thing that's very frustrating is that, we go out there, the tech guys, the writer's block guys, we're out here talking to developers, trying to meet up with these engineers and people that work at Microsoft and work at, Sony or Nintendo, whatever it is, and trying to get hard, legitimate, factual information. And then you have someone put this out there, and it's kind of like now you have to fix what's broken. And as a news outlet, as a source of information for the Xbox community, it's absolutely a detriment to what we do, and it's very frustrating at the same time. It's very frustrating. So I really took offense to it, and I wanted him to retract that statement because it was getting a lot of buzz. And I'm like, you got to be a moron if you believe this. You have to be if you believe this nonsense. So, it was a big debate thing and stuff like that, man. But I just want to make a few things clear, because I can't reiterate it anymore. And I want to clear up some things that I said from my last Super Pod Shot. My last Super Pod Shot, I talked about how the Xbox Slim is coming out next month, and not next month, next month because it's July now, in August. But what's happening is that the console, I believe now, is becoming more and more clear. The 2 terabyte comes out in August, and now I'm hearing again that the other 2, the 1 terabyte and the 500 gig, is coming out in December. And I don't, that's the second time that I've heard that. And stuff. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get confirmation again. I had it the first time at E3, but I'm trying to double up and get the confirmation from people. It's been hard because everybody's prepping for Gamescom, so it's been a bit difficult communicative-wise. But I will definitely try to get that on my next Super Pod Shot to make sure that you guys get the right information out there. But the Xbox One Slim, the major differences between the Xbox One and the Xbox One Slim is that the Xbox One Slim, and I got this specifically from Albert Pernello himself, having another conversation with him and a direct message on Twitter, the major differences is that they've replaced the HDMI with HDMI 2.0 for 4K because 1.5 won't do it. For my understanding is that for proprietary reasons when it comes to 4K content. I don't know what that means, but that's what I was told. The HVEC, which changed or added or whatever, and then they also changed the Blu-ray disc drive and upgraded to an Ultra Blu-ray disc drive. And then, of course, they added more processing power for HDR within the console itself. Besides that, it is the same exact architecture of the Xbox One. It's the same GPU, the same SOC, the same CPU. Everything is exactly the same between the two consoles. And I've had people, on the last show, and I know I'm rambling, but I just want to get this information out. I had people talk to me on the last show about, well, why don't I just wait for the Scorpio? It's because there's going to be a lot of people who's going to be disappointed they can't afford the Scorpio. I'm telling you, the Scorpio is going to be a premium device, and it's not going to be something that somebody could just go out and drop, here's $300-$400
we're talking at least $600.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're talking at least $600. But for those who can't afford the Scorpio, you have an alternative in a Slim, which will up-res games and make them pop with HDR and up-res it to 4K. And you still have probably...
that's what I'm doing. I'm buying a Slim, whatever it comes out. I'm going to buy the 1 terabyte option. I might get a 2 terabyte. I'm still thinking about that. But I'm going to buy the Slim, and I'm going to wait a year after Scorpio comes out. Because, first of all, it's going to be expensive. And second of all, I don't have a 4K TV yet. There's really no point in me getting a 4K TV, and whenever I do, there's no point in me buying a Scorpio if I don't have a 4K TV, because I'm not going to see all the things the Scorpio has to give. I'm not going to be able to see it yet until I get that 4K TV, and until I get that, the Slim is for me.
I feel like I think people also have to understand that I don't think a lot of games early on will release in 4K. I think a lot of games will still release at 1080 first before they try to go for the
probably
native. Just talking native. Yeah, talking native. I think they're going to go with 1080 native right off the rip. Now I'm talking about Scorpio, not the Slim. I think a lot of games are going to still come out, and I think they'll use that added processing power to put towards, more graphic fidelity, more textures, more lighting, whatever they can put in the game to increase the frames, lock those things in, just to make the image and make the games look and play 100 times better than what they would on an Xbox One or PlayStation 4. So I still think at that point they'll still do that. And I think later on, eventually you'll have somebody that'll come out that'll probably drop a game at 4K 30, and if we're lucky, if depending on what the specs are at release. I don't know what the specs are, but we've been told that it's going to be actually better, or they're going to shoot for better than what they requested when they spoke to some of the developers out there, that they will probably go for 4K 60, because they're talking about uncompromised 4K gaming. I think that if you're trying to make a game at 4K 60 and you don't hit 60, but you have to drop down to 30, that's a compromise. So if you're talking about uncompromised 4K gaming, then you need to make sure that whatever you put in that console can do 4K 60, which should be the norm for console gamers. I'm not talking about PC, but just for console, 4K 60 should be the norm, and that's something that they should shoot for when it comes to hardware and the console. But back to the Slim talk. I just think that the Slim is definitely for people. It also will be the cheapest Ultra Blu-ray player on the market as well, at $299 when it comes out in December, and at $400 when it drops in August. So there's a plethora of reasons why you should get it, especially over the Xbox One, in my opinion. But if you don't have a 4K TV for the up-res and HDR, you can still stick with your Xbox One. But if you have or plan to get a 4K TV with HDR, you can pick it up. So it's up to you. But I just want to make it clear, man, that these consoles are not what these people out here are putting out and confusing the general Xbox, community and population, because it's a detriment to us.
We go through this in the Xbox One group. We go through this every day. People asking questions. I made a master post of it that I bump up constantly. It's a video from Giant Bomb where Phil Spencer's directly saying what the S is and what the Scorpio is at least in what it is now. And I constantly have to bump and explain, just watch this video, because people are confused as to what it is. People think immediately that the S is 4K, or there's just a lot of confusion around it.
Yeah, but it's funny because a lot of the confusion is coming from the media.
Yeah.
It's not really Microsoft. Microsoft put out exactly.
Yeah, they were clear. I understood what they said.
I understood it. It's the media that don't understand it. I remember sitting in that group. I was in a group. It was myself and 4 other people, sitting at E3 in this little room, this box room, with 2 engineers for Microsoft. And they handing us the controllers, and we're playing with the controllers, and we're handing them back and forth, and they're showing us the new software that's coming out in fall with the tournaments and the groups and all that stuff like that. And then we start talking about the Xbox One Slim and what it can do and everything like that. And I just remember one guy asking, and I hate to say it, but he was just asking the stupidest questions. It was like we were sitting in a room and he still didn't get it. I felt like I was in school. I felt like I was in the 8th grade, and this kid just kept asking the teacher about this math question that everyone else got but him. And it was so frustrating because we only had 30 or 40 minutes worth of time, and it was at least 10 minutes of it was being eaten up by stupid questions. And you get these guys come out and they write these articles, because everybody that does media is not what we think they are. You know what I'm saying? They're not these, oh my God, these journalists that have master's degrees in journalism or something like that. They're just regular dudes like everybody else. And they put this content out there and they're confused, and they write confusing articles, and then the public is confused. It's sad. It really is, man. It's why we bust our asses to get the right information and put the right information out there to the public, because if not, who else will? Who else will?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a problem. It's getting stupid. The level that it's getting to now is just getting stupid. I'm looking at one article now, and they're talking about 4K is going to be for enthusiasts only. People aren't going to get down with 4K, and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, this is entirely different. Where for the longest time, I had the sentiment about VR, and I still have that sentiment after trying VR headsets. I'm like, nah, this is just it's a side thing. It's not going to be a real contender for gaming or really otherwise. I can't see people putting on a headset and doing this for a long period of time. You're talking about 4K, which is like, the next evolution, just resolution for TVs.
Right.
I mean, this is what happened. Like, I feel like I'm talking to someone who said HD TVs aren't going to be a thing, like back in 2005.
Yeah.
Like saying like, oh no, it's not that big a deal, man. I mean, standard definition's where it's at, and it's like,
yeah, it's coming regardless now.
You understand the price is going to go down, and people are going to buy it because it's cheap, and like because trying to find a 720p TV, like looking at it and comparing it to a 1080p TV now, I mean, it's like, nah, like you could find a 1080p TV cheap, like real cheap. And I mean, it's not that big a deal. And like 4K now, yeah, it's expensive to buy a 4K TV, but I mean, 2 years time, it's gonna be cheap.
It's actually
man.
getting a lot better lately.
Dude, I bought a 4K TV for $599.
Yeah,
$599.
I'm not surprised.
That's what I'm saying. And my next TV, I'm probably either going to get the Sony or the Samsung with the HDR built in for Scorpio. And I'm just going to rotate that TV probably downstairs. I'm probably going to rotate my 4K TV downstairs to the living room and put this one in my game room. Look, these TVs are getting cheaper and cheaper. They're using the insides are premium products, but they're taking away certain things. You might not have 3 HDMI ports. You might not have 2. You might not have dual bass speakers on the TV. That some things come. They'll just remove these things out to make them as cheap as possible, but still give you the quality of the picture and image. And that's what I got with the Vizio D series that I have, which is still a really solid TV. I think another issue is that 4K TVs, a lot of them, because they're not monitors, some people feel that they're not built correctly for gaming because of the refresh rates.
Yeah, refresh rate is important, especially if you want to actually frame rate.
Yeah. Now, some TVs do have a port for gaming, an HDMI port for gaming, where you're supposed to plug up your HDMI into for your consoles and things like that. But again, I think as technology moves forward, these TVs will get higher and higher in refresh rates and hertz, and eventually they'll be able to handle things normally, just like any other 1080p TV. So, look, it's nothing to really be confused about. If you're confused, stop listening to the media and come over to the Tick Podcast Twitter page and ask questions, because that's really where you're going to get the best answers you're going to find. I'll be honest with you.
I'll tell you, there's a Scorpio hidden inside your Xbox. They've been waiting to send out the special code for it to work.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not going to steer you wrong, man. Trust me. We have the connects to get the things that you want answered, and I would never put Tick's credibility on the line just for clicks or views or subscribers or followers or whatever like that. So I'm just keeping it 100. Now, because of Microsoft's announcement at E3 with Scorpio, I'm gonna talk about PlayStation a bit. I know some Xbox fans, and I've actually lost a fan because they felt that I talked about PlayStation too much. But look, I mean, listen, I'm not a biased person, man. I got nothing against PlayStation. I don't find anything wrong with talking about PlayStation as it relates to Xbox. So, PlayStation recently, I've been hearing rumors that there are now 2 consoles.
Not just that. There's another rumor now that there's a Slim coming out.
That's what I'm getting to. That PlayStation 4 now has a Slim in the making, plus the Neo, with the Slim being weaker than the Neo. I don't get this. See, the thing with Xbox was a big box. It was big, rectangular. It was the Americanized console. Bigger is better. But they slimmed it down. They dropped it 40% in volume. I think people misinterpret, or even Microsoft themselves, with the image that they showed on screen. I said this before at E3. It's not that small. Nobody believed me when I was tweeting this out. I'm like, dude, when you see the console, it's really not that small. But what you're not realizing is that the back of the console, there's a big chunk. Like, if you put the Slim on top of the Xbox, lengthwise, it's a little bit shorter. But it's the back of the console where much of the console is missing. The back half of the console is kind of like cut down at least a third. But
to give you guys a better idea of how big look at your current Xbox right now. and if you look at your left-hand side where the disk drive is, if you look at that side and you look at it, and if you were to take that and you end it right before the Xbox logo, that's about how wide the Slim is.
Right. Exactly. So it's a little bit smaller in both directions, but it's really not as many or small as one would think. PlayStation on the other hand has always been a thin console. For them to come out with an even thinner console, I can't imagine what they're going to come out with.
They gotta have an industrial jet engine in there to get all that heat out of there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the thing, I've been hearing it already makes a ton of noise as it is. So it's
not all of them. Not all the PlayStation 4s make a lot of sound, but when you put in the disc game, you hear that thing kicking a gear. Oh my god!
Dan said his runs hot.
Yeah, it makes noise too. Like it's not as like I had an old 360. It used to sound like a jet turbine.
Yep.
But like this, I mean, it's not that bad, but you do definitely notice it. I notice it. My Xbox is whisper quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, man. So they're coming out with a Slim, and I guess that's to combat the Xbox One Slim. And I assume
this is all rumor status, by the way.
That's true. That's true. But if I'm Sony, I do that. Listen, Sony came out with a PlayStation 3 Blu-ray player. A lot of people bought it because it was like the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market at the time. A lot of people are going to buy the Xbox One Slim because it's going to be a cheap Blu-ray player. Cheaper than a regular Blu-ray player that you would have to purchase for maybe anywhere between $500 to $600. So there was a big reason for that. And if I'm Sony, I do the same thing. I'm like, okay, listen, we cannot get beat to market and have people buy the Xbox One Slim because people just want it as a cheap Blu-ray player. I design a PlayStation that's cheaper and smaller and thinner, but it also has the 4K playback in it. And then I drop Neo to go with Scorpio. And that's your three consoles to the market: PlayStation 4, your PlayStation Slim, and your PlayStation Neo. But the thing is now, you can't come out with PlayStation 5 a year after Neo. I mean, after the Scorpio. That's too many consoles to me. That's a little bit redundant in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because you just dropped the
yearly console release. That I think will kill the console industry. You need it to be on average, like every 3 years. I feel like every 3 years, if you were to do, significant upgrades every 3 years, I could see working. Yeah. And I could see that happening on a shorter dev cycle.
Yeah.
I don't. But doing it every year, if they do it where it's like, okay, here's the PlayStation Slim, it's a little upgraded, then they do the Neo the next year, and then they do PlayStation 5 the year after that, that's crazy talk.
It definitely is crazy talk. I don't know, man. I think Microsoft has got a solid plan with what they're doing. A lot of people still get confused and think that Scorpio and Neo is like a new generation. They're not a new generation. Mm-hmm. One of the things that irritates me the most is when people say, "But I don't know how Microsoft's going to sell the Scorpio. It has no exclusives." Like, why do people say that? Like, I get it. I get it. So, all the exclusives are going to Windows 10 PC, and I tend to have to put Windows 10 in front of everything because people just say PC. PC is a lot broader than just PC. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, is Windows 10 still free?
I don't. Well, I'm not sure. I think it's the end of July.
Yeah, till the end of July.
So till the end of July. So you have to the end of the month to pick up Windows 10 for free. If you have not converted to Windows 10, that's another $99 out of your pocket to upgrade to Windows 10 in August when all these games come out in fall.
Yep.
Now, who's going to be bitter when people start trying to get on Windows 10 and upgrade, but they can't play any of the games? I swear to you, I saw a guy literally get upset because ReCore was not on Steam. And just earlier, I seen him talk about how the game is on PC, so Xbox One has no exclusives. Listen, no matter what you say, at some point or time, you're going to make a decision. You're either going to buy an Xbox One or you're going to upgrade to Windows 10 and play on the Xbox interface on your PC. At the end of the day, those games are Xbox games. They're made by Microsoft Studios. They're Xbox titles, and it all benefits the Xbox division. You know, whatever device you want to play Xbox on is up to you. As a console, the console will continue to sell to the console gamers. And I don't see why people think the console won't continue to sell. And I think people put too much stock in console sales and not enough stock in game sales. And as well as active players sales.
Yeah, active users.
Active users
as well. Yeah.
Now, recently you had PlayStation come out and announce they only had, I believe, 20 million?
About half of roughly what they've sold.
That's what I'm saying. 20 million PSN users. Microsoft has about 45 million between the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. That's a significant amount of people. That's a significant amount of people between between the two console manufacturers. And people are like, well, what does that matter? It matters a lot when you have X amount of consoles sold, but your game's already hitting 8-9 million sales. And then you have another console that has sold half, and their games are hitting 1-2 million in sales. You know, and at the end of the day, I'm not trying to brag about anything. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that people put too much stock into console sales, and that what people need to worry about is the games. How are the games selling? How are the games doing? You know, are they moving as a product? Can we expect a sequel? You know, what is the feedback on these games? How positive is the reception? What is the story like? What is the gameplay like? And that's something we should be worrying about. I think Microsoft understands that, and the only thing that they're trying to do now is make sure that they can get their games to as many people's hands as possible, and the end result should be more games for us in the Xbox community.
Definitely, I think we do need to be supporting more of these exclusives, but I do think at the same time we put a lot of stock in exclusives, when in reality I don't think they carry as much weight as they used to. Not like the 360 era or prior, where it was like this was the reason to buy a console, but even now, I mean, if you look at the top 10 games for each console, like you won't find an exclusive on there, at least one that wasn't bundled with a console.
Yep.
Like if you, I think with like PlayStation, I think the top, I think it's like 8 and 9 are what is it? The Uncharted collection and Last of Us, both games which were bundled.
Yeah.
And on Xbox, I think it's kind of the same thing, but I think it was Master Chief Collection and Halo 5, and that was it. And so I mean, we put a lot of stock on exclusives, and they need to sell well so we get more games for the sake of getting more games, not the fact that it's exclusive. Right. I think that's something that Microsoft's kind of figured out, where it's better for a game to be released on PC and Xbox at the same time, so both can sell well, and both games can actually be sold, and you have a wider market to sell them, so you see a greater profit margin with also an increase in a player base. And not only that, but by doing so, you basically can fund the next project. You're not limiting yourself to just one community.
Dude, I actually had this argument over the Xbox losing all of its exclusives, so people say it's smart business to put it out on PC as well under their Windows 10 brand, because it's going to sell Windows 10 to people who, if they want to play the games, are going to have to get it or upgrade to it. Mm-hmm. It's going to give them, like, the company itself, more video game sales, like, which if the console is lagging behind and it's not doing as well as it should, selling the games to PC players will do that, will bring in more sales. So it's smart business, and people think it's like a horrible decision, but it's a really smart business move on their part to bring it all into one place and sell everything under one roof.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree, man. I think that games are super important, man, and as console gamers, it's super important that people continue to spread the word of mouth and stop the nonsense of because this game is on this console, it's not good. You know what I'm saying? I would love for Nintendo to get back into things and be the console that I want to purchase to play some of the games that I miss on the platform, but they're just not at that point yet. And until I see more from the NX, Zelda, as beautiful as the game looks, is not something that's going to make me go out and purchase it over a Neo, knowing that I know, the library they have. Which I'm actually kind of disappointed in the fact that I wanted to pick Neo up for the RPGs, and Star Ocean actually has got poor reviews. And usually I don't take in reviews that I don't really take reviews in as in I don't take it to heart, I guess you can say. But to me, the amount of negativity behind it for $60 is something I have to question. So I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. But I really hope that the other games that drop will make it worth picking up the Neo, and of course we're going to pick up the Scorpio next year and continue to buy my Xbox games and move my library over to the Scorpio as soon as possible. So we're coming up close to the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for stopping in. We have 40 watched right now. If you guys can give us a like and a subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. We have a lot of guys in here with 9 likes. We would like for you guys to spread the word about Tick Podcast, man. I have to do a better effort. I really do. I come on and I do the show, and I never ask anybody to like anything or subscribe. I realized that recently. I don't ask people to subscribe to the channel or like the channel or anything like that, because, for me, it's all about the show and talking to the fans who want to listen and things like that. But I have to really start taking into consideration of growing and expanding the voice of Tick, because the nonsense is too big. The nonsense is too big.
I know, man. I couldn't believe that discussion we had in the earlier half with Mr. X Media. That was so dumb. If you guys want to know what that was about, we talked about that earlier in the podcast. I'm not going to talk about that exactly again.
Yeah, the nonsense is too big, man, and we have to continue to grow our voice and make sure that the right message is being sent, the right content is out there, and things like that. The proper information is out there, because we just feel like there's just too much FUD. There's too much FUD from so many different outlets, and nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. And even if I don't know something, if I do mess up on one show, I try to come back and correct it for the next. I always try to cover my butt and cover the podcast butt. So I think it's really important that we continue to do what we're doing, and I'm very grateful for all the support. So again, as we come up on the end of the show, Microsoft has a lot of games coming out at the end of the year. We have Halo Wars actually got pushed back. We have
Halo Wars 2 here. Yeah. We got Recore coming out. We Happy Few comes out on the 26th of July. We actually got that news story.
That's nice. That's going to be big. We're going to reach out to them and try to get them on the show. We'll have a developer coming up on a red carpet with a game called Rise and Shine by Adult Swim Games, which is just crazy to me that Adult Swim is making real console games now.
Yeah.
Not just their online little games that they have for the kids and stuff like that. Well, not the kids, because Adult Swim is actually for adults. But it's really cool to see this game that they're working on, and I can't wait to get them on the show. I'm also working on getting Miss Shannon Loftus on the show. I'm in talks with them right now. I would love to get her on the show, start talking about Microsoft Studios. What are you guys doing? What new studios are you working on? What can we expect at Gamescom? I know a lot of people are interested in hearing that, and I'm interested in asking her and hearing her questions, so we will definitely get that working. As well as we've been in talks with Albert Pernillo as well to get him on the show. He's pretty much already said he wants to come on. I'm just trying to get I don't want to say the name. I just want to try to get Microsoft's team to...
Don't give away trade secrets.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to get Microsoft's team to push this thing through so we can get Albert on to start talking about the Xbox One Slim and some of the software that we can expect at the end of the year, because I know Al has a lot to address, and I would love for him to do it on the show, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, so we got Dead Rising 4, we got Forza Horizon, we have Recore, I'm missing one. What am I missing right now?
Gears of War.
And Gears of War 4. But what's ironic, what's coming out, is Dead Rising coming out in November?
No, I think it's
December.
What comes out in November? Does any game come out in November for Xbox?
Let me check real quick. I don't remember.
This might be the first year Microsoft does not drop a AAA exclusive in November.
Let me check. Because I feel like there was something, but I don't remember what it was. All right. No, November. Well, November's kind of like a dead month, honestly. Releasing anything there is kind of just dangerous.
What, you have Titanfall, you have Battlefield.
Okay, well, here's a list that I see currently. You got Titanfall 2 dropping on the 28th, and then
Day
you
one
got
buy.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition, the
Oh
28th
God.
as well.
Oh, the
And
temptation
that's
is
gonna
too much.
lapse over, and then you got
Yeah.
Call of Duty on November 4th, and then
No,
November
pass.
Dishonored 2, and Watch Dogs
Dishonored
2 at the 15th.
Day one buys. Okay. What
Please
about
tell me you're not talking about Call of Duty.
No. Oh, Call of Duty. I'm passing on Call of Duty.
Oh, good. I was like, day one buy.
For
Day
me,
one buy.
picking up COD is like picking up Madden. I only get it on even years, but for COD it's like every other 2 years.
Dude, I've picked it. I bought it every year. This will be the first year I don't buy it. That it doesn't look that good to me.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean,
you got Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 releasing like a week and 2 weeks before it. Like EA is trying to shut Call of Duty out.
Yeah, I gotta say, I gotta agree with you in that. This might be the year. I know everyone says this every single year that like Call of Duty dies.
Like people still buy it.
I hate when people do that, but it's just this literally might be the year where it happens because you got
a lot of negative.
Is it Titanfall or Battlefield that drops before it, or I think they both come out like a week or something of each other?
Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 comes out the 21st of October, and Titanfall 2 comes out the 28th. So a week apart, those two EA games come out, and then the following week after that is when Call of Duty comes.
Honestly, what I would love for it to happen is I wish they would delay Titanfall to come out right alongside Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like just to see what happens. But I mean,
I kind of feel bad for Titanfall. I don't think it's
like,
gonna get the justice, like being so close to all these other games. I don't think as many people are gonna go for it, but that's one of my favorite franchises still. Titanfall 1's still a good game.
Well, Titanfall is such a good game. I tell you, me and my clan, we used to kill Titanfall. We had strategies. Everybody had a particular mech where we would work out and how we would do it. It was an amazing game. I can't wait to get part 2. And I can see us being on that in Battlefield 1 because I had to have the discussion. I'm like, look, we got groups coming out soon, and we doing raids. Like, we're back on Destiny, and we're leveling up and stuff, and we're getting prepped for the DLC. I got guys on the Division playing the Underground DLC, and we're getting ready for that. My crew was prepping, and I'm like, dude, we got Titanfall and Battlefield 1 coming out. Are we getting COD? The whole crew was like, no. And I'm like, that's significant because usually my crew gets COD, and it's always like, who has Battlefield 1 or who has Battlefield, who has COD. So everybody's getting Battlefield 1, so I can't wait to have such a large squad on Battlefield 1, and I'm excited about it, man. I can't wait to get into it.
Dude, the way, what I could tell from this is that it really kind of sunk into E3 because you see what people are delving towards. In the Xbox booth, they had the Battlefield 1, and in the PlayStation 1, they had the Call of Duty booth. And the Call of Duty booth was right next to Days Gone, God of War, and then it had its own little thing for Call of Duty. And they were just little theaters you could go into and watch like gameplay for. And when nobody was in line for Call of Duty, that was like, all right, this might be it. And like the Call of Duty line, I mean not Call of Duty, the Battlefield 1 line was like ridiculous, wrapped around the building.
Did you actually play it when you were at E3? Did you guys get a chance to?
I wasn't gonna wait 3 hours to play that.
No, it was crazy. We got there. First of all, it was amazing because when we got there, they had it was like a red carpet everywhere. So you step on the red carpet, and then they had like this dope EA logo, and if like you had Snapchat, some type of Wi-Fi connect thing would happen. It was kind of really cool. But then you would go upstairs into this EA Play thing where all these people are at. And then it was just like you just played a game. And I guess I don't know if there was an event up there or what, or if they had an event or a live show or something like that at another location. But
yeah, it was there. The conference was there.
The conference was there, right? Yeah, but they didn't go in. My day was actually on Tuesday. Their days were actually on Sunday. So I had to wait, and I tried to get in with the team, but they wouldn't let me in. I'm like, I'm not going to go in if my team is already in there on Tuesday. I mean, if my team is there on Sunday, I'm not going to go on Tuesday because they already got the information we need for our fan base, so I'm not going to go in. And the girl was like, well, there's nothing I could do because I'm like, all right, later. Like, okay, thank you. I appreciate your help. I'm out of here. You know, and I just waited for those guys to come back out, and they came back out, but they didn't want to go in because it was too crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had other things to do later that night anyway. What we had? We had Bethesda that night, right?
We have Bethesda that night, and I am so glad we pulled out because that line was ridiculous.
Yo, Bethesda line was crazy. Bethesda line was insane. We skipped the line though. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, lucky. I waited in line.
I thought you was ahead of us. We were like, "Where's Anchor?" Anchor's calling me like, "Where you guys at?" We're like, "Oh, we're up here in the front with King." He's all the way in the back of the line.
Like, I know the rules about E3 that there are no lines at E3. If you know somebody, you're practically in line.
Well, I mean, who's gonna say anything? Honestly, like let's keep it real. Let's keep it honest. If you ever go to E3, and I'm being 100% honest, if you ever go to E3. And I hate to stereotype people. I really do because I don't like being stereotyped. But you're talking about like the largest place for geeks and nerds in the world. Whether they're media, whether they're journalists, there are probably more pairs of glasses there than I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And just being online, it was just like if you skip the line, and I hate to be a bully, but if you skip the line, no one was going to ask you, hey, could you go to the back of the line? It just wasn't one of those type of things. It was just like, oh, I got skipped, whatever. I'm going to continue my conversation because people would just enter their conversations and stuff like that. So, you know, it was really interesting. I had a lot of fun there. We got in very, very early, and I'm glad I did because when I got in, I got a chance to see Phil and Aaron and Adam Boyes, and those guys were chatting it up, and it was a really cool. It was like perfect. I don't know what it is about me bumping into the Xbox executives at the right time all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I bump into them all the time. I bumped into Major about 5 times. I don't know how many times I bumped into Major.
Oh, same deal. Mine was with Graham Boyd or AC Bongos.
Yeah, AC Bongos.
We ran into each other like 6 times.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
Anchorman, didn't you run into Mike Ibarra at the airport? I remember seeing a photo.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ran into him again like I think 2 or 3 more times after that. But yeah, I mean it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, you guys did great crazy coverage of it. I watched it all. It was great.
Oh man, I wish we could have did more of. If our camera guy didn't get attacked, we would have had a lot more coverage.
Yeah, that's a crazy story about the camera guy.
It was very disappointing, that whole situation. But next year, man, we're gonna have a larger team, and we're gonna get more coverage. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited about it and things like that. I'm just glad of all the connections that we made and all the people that we met and things like that. And I'm hoping that I can get some of the people that we spoke to on the show. The sooner, the better. And I think it would be really awesome for all the fans out here that support us to get some of these people back. And of course, I gotta reach out to some big people to get them locked in for later in the year. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for this interview to return for a very, very long time. So it's going to happen. We're making it happen, and I'm excited for it. The Empire Strikes Back in October.
No Russian. I'll tell you.
But I'm excited for it. Yeah, man. So listen, that's it for our show this week. Obviously, we like to do a Q&A after. I'm really grateful for everybody who stopped in. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and start prepping those questions, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our abilities. I definitely want to thank Dan for stopping in today.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. Like, you guys have the best podcast that I've listened to in a long time, and I love you guys. So anytime you have an open spot, I would happily join in on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Can you stay for our Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, man, I really appreciate that. I appreciate the love. It's just something that we do not for the praise, but just because of the passion for the community and for the consoles that we love to game on and things like that.
Definitely shows.
Really, really excited about that, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Xbox and what direction they go into. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show for our MP3 crowd, which I'm behind on as usual because I'm just super busy with a million things. So again, that's it for our show this week. I'm your host, KLWarXKL, with Anchorman V and Dan from the largest Xbox One Facebook.
Actually, shout out Xbox One Facebook.com/groups Xbox One official if you actually want to look it up.
Awesome. We'll definitely check that out. And again, we'll be back next week, Friday, with another Tick Podcast episode. I will return on Wednesday, now that I have my power back, and hopefully with my camera fixed for the next episode of Super Pod Shots. I know a lot of fans out there like that show, and I'm very grateful for that as well. So we will see you next week. I'm your host once again, KLYSKLO, and we are off this planet. Peace. So with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and start our after show. One of the first questions that we have comes from the Morganism. When do you think clans are coming to Xbox in tournaments? My understanding is supposed to come out this fall.
Or groups? I think it's groups, actually.
It's groups. Yeah, it's groups. Like, it's clubs. It's clubs. Clubs. Yeah.
Whatever we're calling it today.
Yeah, it's called clubs. It's supposed to come out in fall with tournaments, and full-blown Cortana support should be out by then. You know, I want to talk about Cortana for a second, since we're on that software subject and things like that, because I had before I start, Dan, did you have Connect? Have you been using Cortana? How does it work for you?
Hey, spotty. I mean, it's definitely slower than just the Xbox commands were, and my wife hates it. My wife cusses at her, so I've noticed the more I use it, it seems like it's getting a little bit better. But there's times where I'm just like, oh, I'm so frustrated. It's learning new commands. Hey, Cortana, instead of Xbox, do this, whatever.
Right.
I think a lot of people want the Xbox commands back, or at least the option for it. So.
Anchor?
No, I mean, I like Cortana. I think the creepiest part about her is like when you ask people to join the party, which is actually like I actually use a lot. Like when I'm starting with a party, when I start up a party, I could just say everyone's name and just get it all going, which is awesome. It saves me time. But it's funny because you could say someone's name and they can have some weird janky ass name, like with ones and zeros and X's. And as long as you say what it is, like she figures it out, which I crazy.
I find myself talking to Cortana and saying the word please. I don't know why. Like I come in and I say, the saying. I don't want to say it right now because my Xbox is off. But I say that and I say, can you please turn on the Xbox? And she turns it on. I feel like I'm talking to a real person half the time. I'm like, can you mute the TV? Can you do this? Will you do this and stuff? And like she's like,
no.
The words are going through and stuff. But then there's instances where like I want things to happen and I get like a Google or a Bing snapped to the side of my TV. It could be frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I get
stuff
that
like
too.
that. So I'm hoping that the more they work with the beta, the more things are fixed. I can't wait to see what she does. But it's supposed to be naturally speaking, and what they showed me at the E3 thing looks really impressive. Clubs, like I said before, I plan to do a Tick KLWAR club. I'm going to combine both, so that way we can have a very large number of people in our club, and we're going to be playing every and anything. So anytime you're looking for someone to play with, if you're interested in joining the clan, you can just hop right in that club and play with us. We'll be on Horizon, Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, the Division, Destiny. We have squads, and we're always in rotation, so you'll definitely be able to find somebody there. And then, of course, the whole tournament scene is something very special that they're doing. And being able to set up your own tournaments and your own leagues, it's going to be really impressive. A lot of people are going to be doing this. I can see it now, people playing for money. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. And Microsoft is going to have their own tournaments as well, which is very, very cool. And anybody will be able to join. Obviously, it'll probably be like one game eliminations to eliminate as many people as at once, or it could be like a first come first serve type of situation. But once a tournament pops up, which you kind of get like an advertisement for it, you need to sign up immediately. You need to sign in, and you need to be able to make your match, because when that thing starts, if you're not there, oh well, that's your fault. So yeah.
Right, so
let's see.
Let's answer the other question. Did you see the new Xenoverse 2 gameplay? No, I don't watch trash.
Why do you say that, man? That's
I watched it.
Listen, I'm a big Dragon Ball guy, man. I love anime. You guys know that. I want to do an anime show. I don't have the time for it, but maybe one day. You never know. We'll see what happens. But
Man,
um,
my stepson, he loves Dragon Ball Z. So the first thing I heard today was like, "There's new Dragon Ball Z footage."
yeah, man. I watch Super. It's very interesting the direction they're taking that thing. But Xenoverse is just. I don't look at Xenoverse as a tournament like the type of game you look at when you look at King of Fighters, Tekken, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat. I don't see it in that grouping, and I don't know if it ever will be in that grouping. It just falls in line to me with the others, like One Piece and Naruto, and all those other anime fighters and stuff like that. I don't know
Yeah.
if it'll ever get to the level of respectability where people will appreciate it because the battle system is not complex enough in a way. I'm sure there's some combinations you could do and things. I just don't see it as complex. And then you have to deal with the air, you're flying. There's a lot of different aspects of the game that just don't fall in line with what they may do at an Evo tournament. So I'm not too sure about that, but I'll pass. The Titanfall Princess asks, first, I love the Titanfall 2 talk. No doubt, Titan, you already know. Tick, how hype are you for Titanfall 2, and do you think Xbox One should have exclusive content for Titanfall 2? Dan, let's start with you.
Do I think they should? I don't. I'm not big on exclusive content either way. Like, I mean, I'm an Xbox guy, but I own everything, so I can play everything. And I mean, as far as the game though, I just the admins of the Xbox group, we just recently started getting back playing together again on Titanfall. That's our go-to game, and I love it. I mean, even this so far away from when it came out, it's still a great game. I can't wait to see the new features in the new one, and I'm definitely gonna buy it. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Hank?
I mean, I'm hyped for Titanfall 2, but do I think Xbox should have exclusive content for Titanfall 2? No. I hate when games do, like, because of platform, like, I hate whenever they do stuff like that. Where it's like, oh, this is an exclusive mission, this is an exclusive, I don't know,
weapon.
like, maybe a skin. I'm not so worried about skins, like, for guns and stuff, but, like, it's when they make, like, real content, like a map or something exclusive. I hate when they do that. So, I mean, out of respect for that, I'd say no.
Yeah, everybody pays the same. They should get the same content.
Yeah. All right. Cal, you there? He doesn't know. We'll take another question. Let's see. It says Connect on Slim. From Stu Jersey says, I have an adapter. Sorry. Will the Slim have a Connect adapter? I mean, yes, it is going to have an adapter. Does it come with the Slim? When I talked to Major Nelson, he said it was going to be free. So, I mean, I'd assume so. I assume I don't know why would they hand out adapters like at GameStop? Say, yeah, hand these out. I assume they will be bundled with the Xbox Slim. So
yeah, or if it's not packaged, they'll have some way that you can go online and have them send you one or something.
all right, let's see who else is out there. Let's see. Let's answer. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll at the same time, and it's looking out really weird. Will SCZ says, if Quantum Break were to get a sequel without Remedy, who would you get, and what ideas would you have for the story? That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a lot of depth.
I mean, that's a real deep question right there. Who would you get other than Remedy to do a Remedy game?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean,
I don't think anybody would do it justice like they would.
yeah. I mean, I kind of want to go in a more like an X-Men kind of route, where it's like it seems like there's more people affected by this time jump than just the two people, just Jack and whoever. I feel like there's more people affected. I'd love for them to go take more of an X-Men vibe to it, where it's like there's other people with other abilities that are just kind of floating around.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
I don't know how they would do it. I don't know about the story, so I won't bother trying to figure that out. Let's see. All right, let's see. Favorite game on Xbox One?
That's a
What
tough
you into
one.
that one first?
Oh man, that's tough. Favorite exclusive game or just favorite game altogether? I don't know, man. See, that's
You
I,
just said favorite game on X1, so I assume
die
just any game on X1.
diehard Forza guy. So mine would be between Forza 6 and Forza Horizon 2. Probably Forza Horizon 2, just because the open world aspect I enjoy more than the track based stuff. But I like them both.
Mm-hmm.
Forza Horizon 3, man, I'm my most anticipated. I plan on getting that $100 edition like day one.
I don't know. I can't make myself buy that. I can't make myself buy $100 edition of anything.
We'll see
Like even Fallout 4, where I was like, I actually pre-ordered. I did it through GameStop, so I didn't have to pay anything yet for the Pip Boy thing. And I was like, $120. Damn.
See, I went through.
myself to do it.
I went through and I wrote down all the stuff.
Yeah, I just had a
regarding
natural
Horizon.
disaster. It was crazy.
That $100 edition though, and
Rod.
that $100 edition of Forza, it comes with the season pass and the VIP pass, and then like a bunch of DLC. Like long term, really, it saves you money if you're gonna buy the season pass just to buy the $100 edition. Plus, you get it, I think, like 4 days early. Like the game releases on a Tuesday, but you can play it like that Friday before.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, we got one more question from. I guess we'll do two more. This one's from Black and Red Ted. He says, "Yo, Tig, my bad for hitting you up so early, but Hawken was hyped for it. Have you all played it? If so, what do y'all think? You guys played Hawken yet?
I haven't
Nah,
played
I
it
haven't
yet.
played it yet. I heard that it was super generic though.
I mean,
Yeah, I've
I
heard-
played it at E3. I mean, it's
I've heard
okay.
bad things.
It's free. At least that much. It's free. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's got going for it. But it's more of I wouldn't call it like a Pacific Rim kind of vibe to it, but it's more of it's more giant than Titanfall, but it's also a little slower paced
Right.
and more methodical.
My
Right.
buddy compared it to Homefront, and I hope
Really?
it's not that bad. Yeah.
Maybe
That's
more like
crazy.
a Medal of Honor comparison.
In terms of quality, I guess he compared it to Homefront, and I was like, ugh, that doesn't aim well.
I'll have to
Yeah.
download the game to really take an examine it and get a real good feel for it. I haven't played it yet because I've been catching up with other things. I'll definitely give it
Yeah,
a
I
try.
plan on checking it out as well.
Yeah, it's free to play, so it's not wrong. Nothing you can do wrong free to play. But before we jump to our next subject, I had to run out and take care of a natural disaster with my child, and that was gross. But but I wanted to talk about Titanfall 2 real quick and go back to it because I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I'm absolutely hyped for Titanfall 2. I'm a big fan of Titanfall. I love the first game, and I really thought that it was really fun. It was exciting. I think that they needed more gun variety and they needed more maps. And they brought that DLC out over time, and it took a long time to get to like a full-fledged game where you had just a plethora of maps and things like that. But the mechs that they presented, which were only 3, were not as varied, and I think a lot of people wanted more variation in it. So for me, am I hyped for Titanfall? Absolutely. And do I think Xbox should get exclusive DLC? Hell yes. Why not? They deserve it. Without the Xbox fan base, how many PlayStation people were at one point like, this game is trash, it looks horrible, they can keep it? I don't know how many people said that. I don't forget, bro. I'm like an elephant. I remember it all.
They changed their tune now, though.
They changed the tune now. They did. And
Yep.
now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're getting Titanfall, and and I'm seeing like PlayStation has marketing rights. If PlayStation has marketing rights to Titanfall, and listen, I'm not a biased gamer. I'm really not. I love PlayStation and stuff like that. At the same time, I think it'd be a slap in the face to Xbox and the Xbox fans that supported the game, bought the DLC, made it what it is, and not to get the recognition for really helping bring Titanfall 2 to life. In all actuality, And that's just the realistic part of it. So if Microsoft got exclusive DLC, I would think it was well deserved, or at least timed DLC, something that benefited the Xbox fan base.
I don't know, man. Going back to what I said earlier, I just can't. I hate when other companies do that. I hate when they make like one platform gets something else that the other person does for the simple fact that you bought it on one platform. I can't stand that. The only thing I could forgive is like skins or something. I'm like,
Hey,
whatever.
it is what it is in the game, man. The game ain't changing. It's like when people play with the UMP and Call of Duty. The gun's in the game, bro. You could be mad all you want. I got 30 kills at the end of the match with this gun, but at the end of the day, it's a part of the game, man. Microsoft and Sony are not going to stop getting exclusivity. That is apparent with Sony. The Spider-Man deal.
I don't like when Sony does it, and I'm not going to forgive it when Microsoft does it. I just can't stand it.
That's what I'm saying. So my whole thing is, look, if it's not going to stop, why all of a sudden do you have to be the good guy? That's my thing. You listen. You can't.
Speaking of the exclusivity, the Division that just came out, we got it like a month before PlayStation.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They have marketing rights for the Division. They got a month before.
Just like they got Call of Duty, now we ended up getting the Division stuff. I mean, I don't know who that appeals to, but I'm sure there's somebody out there happy about
it. I can wait for time stuff. Like I don't care about that.
That's fine.
I'm just talking about like this is exclusive. I think the only time I was like, all right, this is too much. I think when Destiny did it, where they're like, this is a whole year exclusive, and it's like, come on.
Look, like I said, it is what it is, man. Microsoft was doing it, Nintendo was doing it, Sony's doing it. It's not going to stop. It's something that the fans want to stop, but it's not. They're going to keep figuring out a way to one-up each other. Did you hear about PlayStation 4's mods not working on Fallout 4 properly, and it's been postponed indefinitely? That means currently Xbox One is the only place to play Fallout with mods exclusively.
Yeah.
Exclusively.
And the reason why, for those of you wondering, I was listening to this deep thing from a modder, and he was saying that the big issue is you can make a mod for PlayStation. That's not hard. It's porting the existing mods from PC to PlayStation is the problem, because PlayStation has like a proprietary system, like the music the music and sounds, you can't put them in a mod. So like all the new companions, new characters, or anything, or adding new radio stations, you can't do it. The PlayStation will not allow you to do it, and it's ridiculous. So you can do a couple little things and change those, but you can't do anything else.
Are you saying that's the power of Xbox and Windows?
I wouldn't say it's more of a power thing, which I was telling somebody on Twitter, I was like, if I was a fanboy, I would say, the Xbox is the only thing that's powerful enough to run mods.
Is that Microsoft's secret sauce? Windows 10 PC? They're
confirmed.
Getting
6
mods
teraflops of the original Xbox.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Oh my God, it'd be crazy. No, man.
Well, I'm just saying, a lot of the stuff has to do with how Sony works internally with the system and how they do everything, because it is proprietary and all this kind of stuff. It's not a free, open system. I think that is interesting to see how that's going to fly, because if this is the case, Skyrim Remastered, that comes out in October, man, and that's not too far away. That's 3 months away, and if they can't figure this out to get just mods on PlayStation 4 for Fallout 4, what do you think they're gonna do for mods for Skyrim? It's the same system.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be crazy. I just want to let's get finishing up. There's a few more questions I want to ask, and we'll be done. There's only about 3 of them. Ones that I missed. I don't know if you guys answered it or not. Willis CZ asks if Quantum Break.
Already did it.
Got it. Okay. Stu Jersey asks, do you think Scorpio will have all the TV integration like the One does? I think that was a bad move.
I don't know. I think they'll give the option out there. I think they'll have the ports in the back, but I don't think they're gonna do this big big push anymore.
I don't personally use it for TV stuff, but I mean I know people that do. So yeah, I don't even.
I don't think they will. I think they'll move on from it people are cutting the cord. I've cut the cord. I don't even have cable. Actually, I can't say that. Let me rephrase that. I have cable, but it's free, and it comes with my community. I just rent the boxes because my wife likes to watch, her shows or whatever. But besides that, no, I've cut the cord. I'm always either on my Xbox or my Roku watching something, either anime or something like that or whatever. All-Star Gamer 1000 says, so when someone buys an Xbox One S at a retailer like a Best Buy, will they have the Connect adapter, or is that exclusive to the Microsoft store? You got that already? Okay. All right. Stu Jersey asks, what is your favorite game on Xbox One?
Yeah, we handle that one. It's up to you now. What's yours?
My favorite game on Xbox One right now? Man, that's tough. There's a lot of games that I like to play. I think.
Yeah, it's tough to just pick one.
Yeah, it's really tough to just pick one. I hate to say it. I really do. I really hate to say this, but the one game that I find myself consistently playing over and over and over, and it could just be a clan thing, is Destiny. Now, I'm not even a big fan of Destiny, but I'm just...
Death, we're done. You're out.
It's funny. I've been playing it again, too. I play it pretty...
Yeah, no, I've been playing it a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite game, but it's something I've been playing consistently for a very long time. Ark as well, but Ark lags way too much. I'm getting frustrated with that game. Stu Georgie asks, can I plug my external HD from the X1 into the Slim/Scorpio? Don't want to download everything all over again. I believe you will be able to. It's just a HDMI. It's just a HDMI ad, so it's not a big problem there. That's it. So look, man, I really appreciate everybody stopping out today and hanging out with us, getting a chance to talk about Xbox and a few other things. Hopefully you guys will return to us next week. Continue to hit the like button. Continue to spread the word about Tick. If you're interested in joining our Facebook group, we have a great Facebook group called, what is it called, Anchor? Tick Game Network?
It's called Tick Gaming, I believe.
Yeah, Tick Gaming. There you go. Yeah, so look up the group, the Facebook group, Tick Gaming. I will try to leave a link in the description for anyone interested in joining. We're really trying to build a great place for gamers who, no matter what system you're on, you'll be able to come in and talk about it and enjoy it and have great conversations with people and meet people, new friends, and things like that. And eventually, once we get the forums up and tournaments come out, we'll be moving those. We're trying to move those groups to the website as well as the Xbox to get you guys playing with Tick and Core and having great and lots of fun. I think that would be really, really awesome. As well as make sure you subscribe at Tick Game Network on Twitter. Follow us there if you want multi-plat content, because that's where you're going to get it. If you want Xbox content, follow Tick Podcast. Make sure you follow Dan. Dan, what is your Twitter handle if you have one?
Drunken Master D, YouTube and Twitter.
As well as Dan's Facebook group, which is Xbox One, I believe.
Yeah, it's just called Xbox One.
Just called Xbox One. And of course, follow Anchorman V. You have, what is it, Anchorman V2?
Anchorman V2.
Follow Anchorman V2 on Twitter if you want controversial things, because the things that come out of his mouth is ridiculous. I have to contact him on a weekly basis to stop him from saying things.
As you do. So
it's oh God. If you guys can understand the stress that I go through between Anchorman V and Kid Smooth, my day can be hell at times. Trying to hold this Tick ship together. But again, I want to thank everybody for stopping on the show. I really appreciate all the support and all the love. We will definitely try to get these interviews set up, and we will give you guys a head up when these things were occurring so you don't miss it. I'm your host, Kara S. Kal-El, with Anchorman V and Dan, the man from the Facebook group Xbox One. You guys check that out. And we are off this planet. Peace.